hiding your true self, like not walking in your authentic light is actually like really bad for you. This life isn't forever. You're not a vampire. We're not immortal. We're not gonna live forever. Great men have come and gone before us. And at the end of the day, all we really have is life's little pleasures, so might as well enjoy it. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is actually going to be another koan video. So it's actually a video request, so I will put the request down here. A subby has asked, could I do a little bit more koans? So I figured, yeah, sure, why not? There's like over like 100. So I have 3 that I want to talk about because in true minimalism fashion, keep it nice and simple and sweet. So I got 3. The first one is the sweet cherry. The second one is love openly. And the third one is why are you still carrying her? These are one of my favorites. I'll tell you guys the story. I'll tell you my interpretation and my analysis of it. But koans are supposed to be your own interpretation. So I'll tell you the story and you can apply it to your own life as you see fit. Koans try to teach you a life lesson or at least to change your perspective. So without further ado, let's just get to video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. So for those of you who are wondering what a koan is, it's like a parable from Buddhism, from Zen Buddhism, from the Japanese segment. There is a translated copy you can find online. There's a bunch of free copies. You could buy one if you want. Not me gatekeeping anything like that. They are very common. You can find it online. So I have read it. I had the app version on my phone. I don't have it anymore. It has been some time. I was really into this back in 2020. But yeah, I got 3 that I want to share. So let's get into the first one. So the first one is the sweet cherry. So this one was the story of a monk and he's running through a forest. And he trips and falls. Obviously, I'm abbreviating this to like make the video short. But anyway, he trips and falls and he like falls off a cliff. I know, extreme, right? And he like catches a branch. He's being chased by a tiger. So he like looks up to the tiger and he's like, if he climbs back up the branch that was hanging out of the cliff, that tiger that's waiting up there for him will eat him. So he's like, what if I just like let go of the branch and go to the bottom of the cliff? But as he looks down, he notices the drop is really huge. If he were to like let go of the rope, like he's just gonna like end up dying if he hits the bottom. And then on top of that, like the story just gets more and more ridiculous. He sees another tiger at the bottom of the cliff. So he's gonna land there and die. And even if he does survive the fall, the tiger will eat him. So he's like, oh my God, this really sucks. And then he's like turns to his left while he's holding onto the vine for dear life. And he sees that the vine has sprouted a little strawberry. So he plucks the strawberry and he eats it and he goes, so sweet. And that's the entire koan. So you're probably wondering like, what in the world? Actually, the first time I heard this koan was when I was in high school in grade 12. My math teacher told this story. I didn't even know it was a koan. I just thought it was like an interesting life story. And he was saying that, and I'll use his analysis as the interpretation that I have on it, is that life's precious moments are right there in front of us. We just need to turn and taste it. And I just thought that's so beautiful. My analysis of the story was, well, like, death is inevitable. And that is actually more of the more common analysis of the story, is that we don't live forever. And sometimes we are not fully aware of our mortality, but just because we are all destined to die doesn't mean that we can't enjoy life's journey. Just like that monk is destined to die, whether he goes up or he goes down the cliff, he's going to die anyway. But that doesn't mean that he can't turn and enjoy the strawberry. So I think that that is also a life lesson for all of us. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, or even the tragedy of our own mortality, that we forget to metaphorically speaking, smell the roses. So if this is, your daily reminder, sometimes just enjoy the little small things, because at the end of the day, that's really all we have. This life isn't forever. You're not a vampire. We're not immortal. We're not going to live forever. Great men have come and gone before us. And at the end of the day, all we really have is life's little pleasures. So might as well enjoy it. Okay, coming in at number 2, love openly. I really like this one. I don't know why, but I really like this one. Okay, so let me tell you guys the story. So there was this extremely beautiful daughter of a very powerful, I guess, shogunate. And he sends his daughter off to go live in a temple. I don't know what happened, what's the reason, whatever. She ends up shaving her head and becoming a monk in a Buddhistic temple. This is a Japanese culture one. And in it, even though she like shaved her head, she's still gorgeous. So a lot of the monks found her very attractive. One monk in particular fell in love with her, and he would write her these really long love letters and like sneak it to her in the dark, because obviously one of the things about Buddhism is you're supposed to let go of like desire, and that includes like love and lust. You're not supposed to fall in love while you're being a monk. So obviously what he's doing is a no-no, it's taboo, but like he's only human, she's still attractive. And this concept of actually monks being handsome and falling in love is actually a common trope in Asian culture. Like Journey to the West is literally about a very handsome monk who constantly keeps getting kidnapped by female demons who want to marry him. So apparently this is a very common trope. I didn't know. If you've ever watched Inuyasha, Moroku is also a hot monk. Anyway, I digress. So coming back to the story. So this monk is sending her all these love letters about how he loves her and hoping she will love him back. So one day the whole community gets together, they're having like a council or something, like a group meeting, and then she like stands up, or I don't know what it was exactly, but like one of the main monks was saying like some shenanigans has been going on and those inappropriate behaviors, those who are doing it need to come forward, and like no one comes forward. She comes forward, she stands up, and she looks at the monk who's been sending her those letters, and she aggressively tells him, if you love me openly. So that's the koan. That's literally the entire koan. Why I think that's so beautiful? The reason I think that this one is very beautiful, and I think it ties in very beautifully with minimalism per se, and this is my own personal take, and I think might even extend to a lot of people's natural desires, is there's a lot of things in our society that we're told that's no bueno, that's no good, and a lot of the times we play it small, we push down what we really want, whether it be through childhood, through life experiences, whatever it may be. There's been plenty of times, and I'm guilty of this, where it's like you want something, but you can't obtain it, or it's a no-no, or you shouldn't want it, so you just tell yourself, well, like, what if I just do it hiddenly? Anything that is done in secret, that isn't done proudly or openly, causes shame and becomes something dirty and becomes something bad, when in the first place it never was to begin with. And it means a lot that in the koan, the female monk stood up and said, love me openly, because to love is actually beautiful. And in Buddhism, a lot of Buddhists do quit becoming monks and go and live secular lives, get married, and have children. So Buddhism isn't saying that lust is evil. That's actually not really the case. I think that's actually more common in Catholicism to demonize lust, because Jesus was celibate. But anyway, I digress. My point being is, my interpretation of this koan is that if you're going to do anything, do it openly. Like if you are going to do this, to do that, to live life in the light is a lot more freeing. Hiding desires, hiding your true self, like not walking in your authentic light is actually like really bad for you. For anyone who's ever experienced not being their true self, it's not the greatest of experiences. So my interpretation of this koan is to live your authentic life, even if it's not common, even if it's not accepted by your society. Just like in that little monk circle, him liking her, although it was how he truly felt about her, he had to like hide it, and she was like, love me openly. So I think it can be the same for your own life and my life too. There have been lots of things in my life that I decided called me, but were not part of regular society. Like wanting to become a minimalist is not really like I don't know if anymore, but like at the time where I wanted to become a minimalist, it was not really popular, not really common, but I still decided to pursue it anyway. And even in my own minimalism journey, there were certain things that I wanted to do that were not, smiled upon and were kind of frowned upon in the minimalism community, and I still did them anyway. So at the end of the day, I think it's love yourself and be open with what you truly want, because sneaking around your own true desires is probably not the best way to go about doing things. Okay, number 3, why are you still carrying her? I really like this one too. I think this one is an extremely common one. You've probably heard it, at least I've heard it outside of Buddhism. So anyway, so there's these 2 monks, and they're going for a little stroll or a little walk, or I think they're going somewhere. So they are going somewhere, and then they come to a river, and on their side of the river is a young, beautiful, like aristocrat lady, and she's wearing like a beautiful kimono, but she can't cross the river. So one of the monks just like lifts up his kimono, obviously not in like an obscene way, like beyond his pants, but like enough that he could help carry her across the river. And so he does. He picks her up, puts her on his back, or I think like carries her. Anyway, he carries her across the river and puts her down, and she thanks him, and they go their separate ways. So him and his monk friend, because it's the 2 monks, they continue walking, and they walk for a day, and nothing is said. And when they finally arrive at their like lodging, the monk who didn't carry the beautiful lady finally explodes. And he's like, how could you do that? That was so inappropriate. We're monks. We're not supposed to touch the opposite gender, let alone like carry her across a river. Like you were in close proximity with her. What have you done? You've like shamed the Buddhistic code of conduct. The monk who had carried her looks at his friend and he goes, I put her down at the river. Why are you still carrying her? And that's the koan. And I think that that koan is beautiful because my interpretation of that koan is that we still carry things with us long after it's happened. You don't have to carry it anymore. For the monk who had carried the beautiful woman, he picked her up, carried her, put her down, and moved on with his life. He didn't interpret it as misconduct. He interpreted it as I'm helping her, and then that's that. Versus the other monk, he had his own interpretation of it. And so he kept carrying with him this mental baggage. And one of the aspects of Buddhism is to kind of let go of mental baggage. Mental baggage is very heavy. It's among one of the heaviest things that you will ever carry is your mental baggage. And there's actually this is actually a koan. It's like, what is Zen? Putting down the bag. What is enlightenment? Picking up the bag. So that is what one of the functions of Zen is actually to declutter and to put down all the mental heavy baggage that you've been carrying. So that's actually one of the reasons why I like minimalism. That's actually one of the reasons why I like Zen. I like that it does the function of mental decluttering. Sometimes minimalism doesn't address the mental clutter. Minimalism is really good at like declutter your pantry and get rid of your baskets and don't have so many clothes, but there's not really as many like details or mental exercises for decluttering your mind, and I feel like Zen does a really good job of that. A lot of Zen's practices are in the head because there's really not much around you because, well, you have a robe and you have a rice bowl and like that's it. So I think that practicing these koans and thinking about these life philosophies kind of puts certain perspectives in one's mind. Like, yeah, why are you still carrying her? And I use her as a metaphorical for whatever it is that you're still carrying. Like, you don't have to carry it. That second monk didn't need to carry that. Like, what had happened, like, had already happened. It was already in the past. Both parties had moved on. The royal lady probably wasn't thinking about it anymore. Neither was the monk who had carried her. But the monk who was still thinking about it, he carried her for an entire day, whereas the other monk only carried her for like all of like 2 minutes. So I think that that is one of those things that we can kind of apply to our own lives, and I try to apply to my own lives. I ask myself, like, what am I still carrying, metaphorically speaking, and tell myself it's okay to put it down and like let it go, because that's one of the functions of Zen, is like realizing that you are free to stop carrying all of that emotional baggage. So that is today's 3 koans. I hope that you could have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!